Welcome to Zimwaves TV, where we unpack Zimbabwean policies with a sharp tongue, a critical eye, and a big dose of humour. Today, we're diving into the government's latest strategy to fix the nation's economy and energy crisis, a budget that taxes gambling winnings and hopes for rain to power the country. Yes, you heard that right. While other nations bet on innovation, Zimbabwe is literally betting on gamblers and the weather. Let's break down the budget highlights before we dive into the commentary. Here's the summary in point form. Tax on gambling winnings. A new tax targeting all winnings from gambling activities. Dependence on rainfall. The government is relying on anticipated heavy rains to fill Kariba Dam, improving hydropower generation to mitigate power outages. Economic growth projections. The budget claims these measures will help stimulate economic growth, though the specifics remain vague. Broad energy strategy. Beyond hydropower, there is little detail on investment in renewable energy or alternatives to the current grid. Revenue generation. The tax on gambling is positioned as a creative way to bolster state coffers amidst dwindling resources. Now let's dive into this masterpiece of policymaking. Imagine this. You've been battling odds at the slot machine, finally hit a small jackpot, and just when you're celebrating, the government pops up and says, "We'll take a slice of that." They're not only taxing your winnings, but also relying on your gambling losses, indirectly contributing to their income. It's like a comedy routine where the punchline is your hard-earned cash disappearing into a black hole labelled national revenue. But wait, it gets better. The government isn't just raiding casinos for money. They're counting on the skies to solve the nation's power crisis. Yes, the grand energy plan boils down to let it rain. Forget solar, wind, or any serious investment in energy infrastructure. Who needs that when you have clouds that might or might not produce enough rain to keep the turbines spinning at Kariba Dam? The audacity of this approach is nothing short of theatrical. It's like Zimbabwe's government is a gambler at the table saying, double or nothing with the nation's future. Except this time, the stakes aren't just high, they're existential. Critics are already sharpening their knives. Economists argue that taxing gambling winnings in a country where most people gamble out of desperation is more predatory than progressive. Meanwhile, environmentalists are laughing and crying at the reliance on unpredictable rainfall in the face of climate change. The public? Well, they're too busy figuring out how to survive load shedding to even comprehend the absurdity of this plan. And then there's the growth projection. The government claims these measures will drive economic growth. Growth. How, you ask? Good question. It's like saying a child's allowance will fund a multi-million-dollar project. It just doesn't add up. The reliance on rain as a pillar of the energy strategy is especially baffling. Zimbabwe is a country blessed with abundant sunshine, yet solar energy remains an afterthought. Why tap into a reliable, renewable resource when you can gamble on the weather instead? Let's not forget the irony. While the government taxes gambling winnings, they're essentially gambling with the nation's economy and future. It's a classic case of do as I say, not as I do. But maybe there's a genius in this madness. Why stop at taxing gambling winnings? The government could tax hope itself. Dreaming of a better future? That's a 10% levy. Looking at the sky and wishing for rain? That'll be extra. The possibilities are endless when logic is optional. As we wrap up this commentary, one thing is clear. Zimbabwe deserves better. Better policies, better leadership, and better strategies than relying on casinos and clouds. But until that day comes, we'll be here at Zimwaves TV calling out the absurdities and keeping you informed. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because while the government gambles, we're the safe bet for real talk and critical insights. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and as always, let's keep laughing through the chaos.